Hello, we are here in Portugal at Awin ThinkTank 2025, celebrating sun, success, Awin. Over the past 25 years, I'm joined by Adam Ross, CEO of Awin. How's it going, Adam?
It's going well. It's great to be here. It's a beautiful day. What more can you want?
Yeah, it's been terrific. How have you found the event so far?
It's really surpassed my expectations. I think that bringing everyone together in this type of environment just makes everybody so relaxed. I think because people are here for a few days as well, they don't have that stress of having to fit everything in to a really short period, and again that makes them relax. So everybody's in a great mood. I think everybody's had there's been great content, lots of interesting discussions, and then we've got a nice party tonight, and then we do it again tomorrow. So I think it's perfect, really.
Absolutely. Yeah, interesting discussions. You kicked off the day with a keynote session about new updates at Awin, but also about the past 25 years of Awin and your own journey as well. I'd quite like to start with your entry into Awin, your entry into the affiliate world in general. How did you actually come about this? Because you told us that you were actually studying dentistry to begin with.
Yeah, so it's kind of an unusual story. I mean, I was always into the internet as a kid. Got the internet really early in Ireland. Was building websites before anybody really knew what they were. But my parents always wanted me to do a vocational degree. So it was just like, do a degree where you're going to be guaranteed a job at the end of it. And so I studied dentistry, and it was probably a mistake. I should have probably studied something computer related. But these things always have a funny way of working themselves out, and so that didn't work out. And I thought, well, I've got to go back to university and study something else. But purely by chance, I moved to London. I found a recruiter that knew the founder of Affiliate Window, Kevin Brown, really well, and she persuaded him to give me a chance and to see me. And I went to the office. It was in Deptford in southeast London. All my friends thought it was absolutely crazy to even consider it because nobody had heard of this industry.
Yeah.
And I just really loved the sound of it from the beginning. This sort of mix of internet and online, which I loved at the time, and business.
Yeah.
And the rest is history. I mean, I went to the interview. I got on really well with Kevin. I think before I'd even come off the tube on the way back home, I had a call to say they want to take you, and that was a job integrating clients onto the network. So I came in the technical support team, and I think that's, and I've said this many times before, it's like the best foundation that you can possibly have to get into this industry. So understanding, at a nuts and bolts level, how the thing works.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's how it all started. So pure luck, pure chance, good timing, good relationship with the founder at the time, and then the rest is history.
Did you have any trepidation about jumping into such a fresh industry, not knowing whether it might work or not?
Yeah, absolutely. And in some of those early days, the affiliate industry, I think it had a lot of work to do to become more mainstream and become more legitimate. And there were things that went on in the industry at the time that would be completely unacceptable now. And seeing those things and thinking, are we making money from that? It certainly gave pause, but it also sort of made me think there's an opportunity to fix this and to build something that's more mainstream and to build something that brands can really invest in and support. And that was also part of the excitement. How do we, what would it take to go into a meeting with a big brand and have them convinced that they should put more money into this? And building solutions that achieved that was part of the fun at the beginning, I think.
So when was the moment when you realized that this industry was really working and this was something that you wanted to dedicate a lot of time to?
I think one of the first moments where I thought, wow, this is big now, is when we first put on our black tie event for clients. I can't remember the exact year. It was like maybe 2007 or something around that time, because it was the first moment where we'd managed to get a large group of really significant brand names in a room, all dressed nicely, all taking it really seriously. And I think just before we actually, we hired a coach to take the whole office at the time from our office was in Greenwich to the event. And just before we got on the coach, we got a call from what was DSGI back then, so Dixon's, Curry's, telling us that we'd won that business. Okay. And that moment of winning a brand of that size, it was multiple brands at the time, PC World, Dixon's, Curry's, alongside going to that event and seeing all our a bunch of major clients all there in the room. I thought, this has got legs.
Yeah.
This is a big deal now. It was a pretty exciting moment.
I'm guessing that was a pretty big night.
That was a massive night. Yeah, we had great fun, and of course, those times you could bring the whole company.
Yeah.
You could bring now like 1,400 people. It's very hard to bring everybody together. Then there was this real sense of we're all in it together. Everybody knows each other. We were achieving these great things together, and the whole company was able to come and celebrate that night, and that was a very meaningful moment.
Have you always been just purely really passionate and dedicated to affiliate marketing? Were there any moments where you thought, I'm not sure if this is going to work out, I might actually have to pivot into something else, within the digital marketing world?
Yeah, there have been moments where I've thought, could I do something else? Is there something else that might be interesting within digital? It was always, it's always digital for me. I love the industry as a whole. I think what's happened for me is the way I describe it. Every 3 to 5 years, there's been a major moment within this company that has kept things super interesting and exciting. Whether it was the moment when we first sold the business to Axel Springer, where we acquired the biggest competitor at the time, which was Bayat, or when Affiliate Window and Xanox merged in 2014. There's always been sort of a major event that has kept it exciting and kept it interesting, kept it different, and kept my attention. And so I would always say, as I move towards the end of those cycles, I'm always thinking, right, is there something else I want to do here? And then something's happened that sort of kept me engaged right up until recently, where I took over as CEO in 2021 and started a new cycle.
Yeah. What's been the most recent one lately? Would it be something like CPI or?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the big one was getting the opportunity to lead the company in 2021. That's a very proud moment. And then as part of that, launching a big transformation. We've done a lot of work over the last few years, changing the way we're structured, changing the way we price, investing a lot in technology. We really needed to do that, and we're starting. It takes a long time to do that, to invest the money, and then get the results. What we presented today was the culmination of many years of investment and hard work to reimagine how we wanted the platform to work. And then, of course, there were moments along the way where we launched something that we think is super important for the industry as a whole, like CPI, and they give it. When we successfully do something like that, it gives us great pride, and when we see how the market responds to that, it gives us great pride. So, lots of little moments, and then much bigger ones.
Big ones. Yeah, going back to becoming CEO, was that always a goal for you? Did you expect that to happen in your career?
I don't think so. I think that what I would say now is that we had a very tight-knit team that have been running Awin for quite a while. A very strong working relationship. Worked very effectively together over an extended period of time, and it never felt like there was too much friction there. And so I don't think I ever sort of thought, oh, I have to become, this has to happen for this to be interesting. Yeah. But then I have to say that when it happened, it was a major moment, and it is very different being the CEO versus being on the exec board. It's a different level of responsibility. It's a different set of goals that you have to achieve. It's a lot lonelier. It's definitely a different challenge.
Across your journey, have you made any predictions about affiliate marketing that have either been proved correct or incorrect?
It's a good question. I think that I had, at the beginning, certainly healthy doubts that the industry was going to be able to transition from being, somewhat of a cottage industry play or a kind of obscure industry into something that was more mainstream.
With like creators and influencers.
Yeah, and also just engaging with brands. And look, this. I'm not sort of sitting here saying that we finished this job, right? We still talk about this at all the conferences. How do we get more attention at the CMO level? How do we become more impactful? And I think that so the job is not done. But if we look at where we came from, it's really night and day. I mean, now we're in a situation where probably every major brand in the world has an affiliate program. That wasn't always the case. I think we now have to. It's really got to come together with the rest of advertisers' activity in a more intelligent way. I think we've all got to collectively work towards that as an industry. Still. And I think also that may be enhanced and that might change by when brands start to restructure how they think of affiliate marketing. I think it's still probably a little bit too siloed. Obviously, it depends on the brand, but it's still too siloed, and we need to be working much more cohesively as a set of industries in digital to provide better outcomes for advertisers, for sure.
If you could go right back to the beginning and give yourself, when you were starting out in this industry, one piece of advice, what would it be?
I think the main piece of advice that I would give to myself, and that I still tell people today, is to never stop learning, researching, understanding what's coming around the corner. And I personally do that a lot through reading, or probably more frequently now through listening to so many great podcasts to listen to. I mean, even listening to guys like Scott Galloway has been a huge source of inspiration and information for me over many years. I think my advice to anybody is, the big problem that you have is if you stay static and you don't continue to push yourself, continue to put yourself in uncomfortable situations, and keep reading, learning, absorbing information, because it's surprising, what you learn and how you can then apply it to this industry. There's a flexibility and a malleability to this industry that means that you can apply learnings from many other areas to it. And so my advice to anybody is just keep that hunger and keep learning as much as you can.